War has never been popular, and boys have died, but I would expect him to take a man's part in a man's world.
You know, with privileges come responsibilities, and we have to meet these responsibilities in order to enjoy these privileges. And so I would say no, it was not a waste of life.
I feel that it was wasted. I don't think that he should have died the way he did. Died for nothing, no reason. It seems to be no reason.
For the 2,000 or so people who live in this drab, small town of Wayne, in a depressed area here in the Appalachian Mountains in West Virginia, the Vietnam War was as far away as the likelihood of a boom coming to this area. It was something that they'd read about but couldn't really believe. That was until the other day when a telegram arrived saying that early Sanders boy Daryl, a lad whom everybody knew and liked, a lad whose military service was nearly over, who was going to be married in the little church over there this coming Friday, had died in the Ia Drang Valley battle thousands of miles away in Southeast Asia.
Suddenly, the war in Vietnam is at the doorstep of every one of the humble homes in Wayne, as indeed it's arriving at more and more doorsteps in small towns and big cities across America. Wayne is in one of the poorest areas in America, and usually the people here are more concerned about where the next dollar's coming from rather than worrying themselves with world affairs. But there are many mothers whose sons will soon be off to Vietnam. They're reminded that it seems like only yesterday that they saw Darrell Sanders and his friends going home from school down the main street. The barber's shop young Sanders used is just one landmark in a series of daily reminders that he was there yesterday, their sons are there today, but how many more will not be back tomorrow? Young Sanders was raised in a wooden shack with his 3 sisters and 3 brothers. There hasn't been enough money in the family for even simple repairs. His father, Early, is a cleaner at the school his own son went to. His married daughter, Fern, had come home from Chicago for her brother's funeral.
He was very well known here, wasn't he?
Yes, sir, he was.
And very well liked from...
Seemed to be that all the boys that he was ever with around here liked him, thought the world of him.
Do you feel that this has now brought home what had up to now been a very far-off war to the people of Wayne and small towns like this in America?
Yes, I do.
Now that this has happened to you and to your family, do you feel that the loss of his life was a waste, or do you think that it did do good?
Well, that I couldn't say, definitely. I wouldn't say, but my ways of thinking and seeing, it is.
A waste of a life?
Yes, sir, I do.
There have been a lot of...
I may be wrong. I may be wrong about it. But that's my way of seeing.
Tell me about your brother's life in Wayne.
He was just an ordinary boy starting to high school. He went to high school 3 years. He just did what most boys do after school. He did have to come home after school to do the work at the house because my dad was working. He had to do the chores around the house. Then he usually went back to Wayne with his friends. He played ball sometimes after school at the gymnasium. He went to a little cafe across the street from the school and usually hang around there, ate, and they shot pinball machine. Then usually he and his friends went uptown to a pool room, shot pool.
What did he do when he came on leave?
When he came home on leave, at first he just came home. He usually hunted some. He liked to hunt. And he went with my father and my cousins, they did a lot of hunting, rabbits, squirrels, and just anything they'd hunt, anything. And then later, about almost a year after he joined the service, he met this girl that he went to high school with. And of course, he stayed lots with her when he came home on his other leaves. And they had planned on getting married December 17th of this month.
When was he due out of the army?
He was due to come out the 3rd of December. He was to be discharged the 3rd of December. But the last letter that I got from him, he said he would leave the Vietnam the 20th of November. And then he wrote my dad one after that and said the 23rd of November. But he would have been home December 3rd.
The home to which Darrell Sanders came was a grave on the top of a hill on the outskirts of Wayne, a hill which has been used as a family cemetery for years. His army friends are still fighting in Vietnam, and the pallbearers who carried his coffin were sent from Fort Knox, a squad who had officiated at 3 funerals for Vietnam victims in the area in 3 days.
In his letters to you, did he ever indicate how he felt about being in Vietnam at all?
Well, he thought it was necessary that they be there, I think, if they fought the war, if they went ahead and fought it and not just keep lingering it out, just making short. I think this is the way he felt. He talked when he came home in July. I was on vacation and he came by to see me, and he said that if he had to go over there, that he thought it would be necessary if they fought the war, but not to just kill the boys off like they had been. He didn't think it was right.
He thought America should put more effort
into the war.
Now that you've suffered this loss, do you feel that his life was wasted, or do you feel that it may have done some good?
Yes, I feel that it was wasted. I don't think that he should have died the way he did, which, I don't think he should have died for nothing, no reason. It seems to be no reason.
At the school which Darrell Sanders went to, the older pupils are very much aware that other boys will be following him to Vietnam and may possibly share his fate. His lifelong friend Sherman Lewis expects to be called up soon.
When are you due to go in the army?
Well, probably sometime next year.
What, in the immediate future?
In the immediate future.
I gather a lot of lads who've gone from Wayne, have gone into the army, have gone straight off to Vietnam, or very quickly after training.
Yes, most of them have.
Would you expect to go to Vietnam?
I couldn't say.
Do you think the fact that Darrell Sanders was killed there, do you think this is going to perturb youngsters like you now, the fact that the war in South Vietnam has been brought so close home?
Yes, I believe it will. These boys around here get to thinking about it. Having to go to the army, they expect to go on over to Vietnam and fight.
How do you feel about it yourself?
Well, it is something to think about after someone so close to you is killed over there.
Well, I think it's a great loss. We feel it's a great loss to us, but I was his bus driver that hauled the boy to school. But it's a thing that's happened. Nobody can prevent. It's the people realize that the government, what has to be done, it has to be done to protect the rest of us.
We enjoy peace here. Part of the time we like this country. We like American. That's what they're fighting for. It's for American. And I bless my approval is to any man that will go out and help hold our freedom as men heretofore. I had a boy that went through World War II.
Are you worried about your son going?
Yes, I am, very much.
Would you try and stop him going?
No, I wouldn't stop him going because I went. I spent nearly 4 years overseas, and it has to be done by somebody younger than me. And so I wouldn't stop him from going because I think more of him than I do other boys, of course, because it's mine. But other boys has to go too, and they're somebody's children.
Have you got sons of your own?
I have sons. I have a 17-year-old son and a 20-year-old son.
So they're getting very near army age.
It brings it much closer to home to me.
Will they be going in the army soon?
They haven't received their call as yet, but he is 20. He will be 21 his birthday.
Would you try and stop them going there?
No, I wouldn't. I think you have to make a stand somewhere. And
Even at the risk of a young life.
War has never been popular, and boys have died. And it's not a popular thing. It's not an easy thing for a mother to come up with. But I would expect him to take a man's part in a man's world.
You know, with privileges come responsibilities, and we have to meet these responsibilities in order to enjoy these privileges. And so I would say no, it was not a waste of life.